Hello everyone, my name is Kirill and you are on the AutoAdviser channel. Do you know that all antifreezes or coolants are different in color? This is probably obvious, but the main thing is not a color, but a standard. The word antifreeze consists of two parts, anti and freeze, which means this liquid does not get frozen and used in the coolant system instead of ordinary water. Contrary to popular belief, antifreeze still freezes, but at very low temperatures. It is about minus 40 degrees Celsius. And antifreeze boils a little later than ordinary water, 120 and above. In most antifreezes, the same component is a mixture of ethylene glycol with water, so it's a solution of water and alcohol. I even remember my grandfather in the Soviet Union just mixing vodka with water and pouring it all into the coolant system. The rest of the components of antifreeze are additives that are designed to prevent corrosion inside the coolant system. Ethylene glycol and its derivatives have a very strong effect on the walls and tubes of the coolant system, especially at high temperatures when the pace of chemical reactions increases. Therefore, pure antifreeze without additives over time simply destroys the coolant system. In order to understand what additives are added to a particular antifreeze, they came up with painting them in different colors. The most common colors are red, blue, green, yellow, and purple, and maybe some other. But as it turns out, this is not that helpful, since different colors can correspond to coolants of approximately the same composition. The most important indicator for antifreeze is not the color at all, but the standard, according to which it is produced. What is a standard? For example, GOST for the Russian Federation and CIS countries, SAE standard for Americans, GIS standard for Japan. Of course, each country has its own national standards, and therefore there was some kind of a mess in these standards, because if we compare antifreezes according to national standards, we will not figure out what the difference is and what is responsible for. The Volkswagen concern came to the rescue and developed internal marking system, which many manufacturers now use too. And so the first coolant was labeled G11. It contains silicate additives, which is why it is sometimes called silicate. These silicate additives form a thin film inside the coolant system that protects it from corrosion. But this technology has a small flaw. This film, which was designed to protect it, stops the heat transfer, which means it prevents the coolant system from cooling the engine, and besides, this silicate protective film breaks down over time and pollutes the coolant system. Therefore, G11 coolant should be changed at least once a year. It's obvious that over time other additives were developed, and so the next type appeared, which is called G12. It contains so-called carbon additives. These additives do not cover the entire coolant system with a thin layer. They only act in those places where corrosion has already occurred. But there is a nuance. These additives do not prevent corrosion, but begin to fight it as soon as they appear. They do not have any preventive measures. Based on this, the next technology has appeared, which should supposedly be called G13. But no, it's called G12+. G12+ is a hybrid technology that is a mixture of the previous two, G11 and G12. So it contains both silicate and carbon additives, and they complement each other's work. It turns out that they just mixed G11 and G12 and called it the new G12+ technology. Why wouldn't they? But it didn't stop there. It turns out that there are G12 double plus technologies. It's like the same G12+, only with additional plus. And they claim that they added some other additives that improve the operation of this entire system. I tried to figure out what they added to the liquid, but I did not understand what the significant difference was. How does it differ from G12 with 1+? But something extraordinary happened next. The pluses ran out, and therefore the G13 was developed. They claim that G13 is a fundamentally new technology, but in reality the difference is negligible. If earlier all coolants were based on ethylene glycol, the G13 is based on propylene glycol. Did you feel the difference? In fact, the difference is for the environment. Ethylene glycol is very toxic, and propylene glycol is environmentally friendly. But everything else remains the same. The safe additives remain, we just remove those two pluses and call it all G13. I'm kidding, of course. G13 is a great example of doing a right thing for the environment. And now the main question. What kind of antifreeze to fill in your car? G11, G12 or 13? In fact, the most recent answer is the manual for your car. Open this book already and see what standard is indicated there. Why an instruction manual? Because the manufacturer knows what materials your coolant system is made of, and different additives and different antifreezes are suitable for different materials. To be completely clear, antifreeze G12 is better suited for non-ferrous metals, as copper and brass. But G11 is better suited for aluminum and so on. And there is such a theory that the latest generation of antifreeze, types 12 double plus and 13, can be poured into all cars without exception, especially new ones. Many people ask if it is possible to mix different antifreezes of different colors. Some even think that if we mix 11 and 12, we get 12 plus. This is all in theory, of course, but my personal opinion is that it's better to not to do this, since the results can be completely unpredictable, because you are mixing different chemical solutions, so reactions can occur, precipitates can occur, and do you need this? If you still have an antifreeze leak, simply add distilled water and then already in the workshop, completely flush the coolant system and fill in new coolant. It's simple. And so the conclusions. There are coolants of various colors. This is clear. But you should not choose antifreeze only by color. The main criteria is the standard by which this antifreeze is produced. But nevertheless, there are other national standards, so you can find some strange inscriptions on the packaging. Although, if you read carefully, it should indicate what technologies were used and what additives are there. For example, it may indicate that there are silicate additives or carbon additives. Be sure to read and understand what they are responsible for. But in the end, you can just open the manual for your car and read what kind of antifreeze to fill in. This is all I wanted to say about antifreeze. If you have any questions or suggestions, write them down in the comments. My name is Kirill, this was AutoAdviser channel, and all the best to you and see you again.